And welcome to Hot Jam with Heather. Today, we are so excited to be sharing with you how we are doing real estate in the new norm. And our team at WMT Global Properties is so thankful and grateful for our partners. We've asked some of them to join us today so that we can all answer the questions that so many of you have called us with. And to let you know that we, of course, are still working. We just have some new ways of doing things. So first, I'd like to let everyone introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with Sammy Baker. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sammy Baker. I'm with Contractors Best Pest Solution. And so we take care of all your termite needs, rodent situations, and any insects that are bugging you.
Thank you, Sammy. Rob Donahue.
Hello, everyone. Rob Donahue with Sure Thing Home Inspections. We're building code residential certified home inspectors. We do residential and commercial along with radon, mold, and termite inspections. We use Sammy for that as one of our best vendors to do that. And we support new construction and residential buyers.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rob. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sarah Dudley. I'm a managing attorney with McMichael and Gray, and we are a closing law firm. Well, we do anything pretty much real estate, and love working with Heather and her team and Jeff, who's on the call. But we do closings, and right now we're just navigating all this craziness.
Thank you, Sarah. Brian?
You're welcome.
Yeah, hey everybody, this is Brian Jonick with Fast Photos, and we are the people who take those beautiful photos that get your home sold. We also offer video walkthroughs and 3D tours that we'll probably be taking a look at a little later in this broadcast.
Thank you, Brian. And Melissa?
I'm Melissa Goldston, and I am the Executive Administrator and Transaction Coordinator for WMT Global Properties. And I work with all of our partners to ensure we have smooth closings for all of our clients.
Thank you, Melissa. Melissa is our rock star on our team. So happy to have you here with us today. Jeff, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. Jeff Zuloff with Loan Depot. And I do purchase loans and refinances. I work a lot with Heather and her team and Melissa. And I work a lot with Sarah too, who closes our deals for us. So I'm the guy that brings the money to the table.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeff. And Andrew, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm Andrew Firking with Thrivent Financial. We're a comprehensive financial advisory and financial planning firm. We help Heather's clients manage their finances, investment management, comprehensive planning, certainly around the home buying process. But then after that, many other savings goals and retirement planning and a lot of different financial planning needs. So, yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for all of you coming and joining us today. And we do have quite a few questions that have come our way. And a couple of them, I think, are a little bit more for all of us maybe to answer. So I'm going to pose the first question, which I'm sure everyone knows is out there. How are we doing business with the coronavirus changes? And how are things at our work changing and procedures maybe that we might have in place that will help our clients and our communities understand how we're doing business now? Rob,
Go ahead, Sarah.
Sarah.
Sure, I can jump in. We're actually now pretty much having to do, we have about 3 options that we're offering to people because it changes how we do closings based on the lender we're dealing with. Jeff's team, we're currently trying to get approval to do the video closings through Zoom, which was just announced yesterday that we could notarize through video. Which logistically, there's a lot more that goes into it than just setting up a video call. You've got to do a lot of authentication, and we've got to make sure the lenders are okay with it. And so it's not just like overnight we just start doing video closings. So we're currently having people in the parking lot. I've signed a seller in the parking lot. I've signed sellers by themselves in a room, buyers by themselves. I've had people do a POA. We have basically 3 options for people to choose from. So there's a lot of more patience that has to be involved right now with the whole process. It's not as quick and in and out as it used to be before we started dealing with this. So I think that's the biggest thing people need to understand.
And I think we're all experiencing that because everything is being done more technologically based and virtually. So hopefully each of our clients has a little bit of patience with us, as it does take a little bit longer for us to do some of our things, having to go only in that direction. Jeff, could you answer a little bit about how that impacts you on the lending side?
So from the lending side, like Sarah said, we're coming up with solutions because you can lend money, but if they can't sign and close, then it doesn't matter. So we're working on that along with our preferred partners like Michael and Gray, who do an awesome job getting people to the closing table and figuring out these new solutions for this new crisis we're in. But as far as our company goes, we're a digital technology company anyway. So I've always had the ability to work from home. As you can see now, I have 3 monitors in front of me. Let me see if I can show you. So I've got my 3 monitors on here, and keep an eye on the news behind me on CNN. So, I mean, as far as the lending perspective, our whole staff is able to work remotely. So all of our loan processors, our underwriters, our closers, everything has been able to transfer to working from home. So it's been a very smooth transition. We have about 6,700 employees in the country, loanDepot does. And everybody now has the ability to work from home. So from a lending perspective, we haven't really seen a big change to what we're doing right now. Not as much as you'll see probably on your side, Heather, with real estate agents and also, you know, home inspectors. People that have to be in contact with people are going to see the biggest changes, I think.
And on that note, Rob, would you like to take it away on how we're dealing with inspections now?
Well, thanks, Heather, for letting me know that. I've been doing this for like 23 years, and every day is a different opportunity, and you got to take the good and the bad and actually figure out what's the best way to deal with the client. We have always been the company that allows the client to show up because it's more about education than anything else. Our inspection reports don't pass or fail a home. What it does is give it the true condition, and then we relay that information to the buyer. So we have had to implement now that the buyers or the agents, or the buyer's agent and the listing agents, can no longer be present at the inspection. So we're still showing up. All the guys are in booties, hand gloves, and are also wearing respirators, the N95s. And even though we're still doing a report with electronic with the iPad, but what we're doing now is we're implementing phone calls and video calls towards the end of the inspection and going over our report with the client and the agent on basically right there at the agent's there. So we're doing 2 or 3-way calls, whichever way it works. And our standard policy has always been turn the report over by the end of the day. And that part has stayed the same. A lot of people are starting to really understand, and some of my inspectors, even if they're on site, they'll talk to them by phone. Because we want to keep that social distance. We want to make sure that not only with them, but with the sellers, we want to make sure that we're not bringing anything in it, making their home become unsafe. And as the call goes on, we'll talk a little bit about some opportunities that we're kind of discovering that we can help get that house set for when the closing goes up, how it'll be when the buyer shows up. So we're still going forward. We can work remotely. We have an office, but we're now working from remote. So all of our inspection can be ordered online, and we have apps for our top producing agent. They can just be with their client, do it online with the app, and don't even have to really call the office. So it's been challenging, but you know, we're glad to have some great vendors like Sammy here on the call too. We're working with his company. He helps provide those termite letters and reports with us. So he comes out with us also, and his guys again, are following the CDC guidelines and making sure they're being protected and turning the report over. So it's just, everybody working together, and we're making it through. We're still enjoying it. It's a great opportunity. So we're just going to ride the wave.
Sounds great. And Sammy, you want to piggyback that?
Yeah, so what we're doing is going out and like Rob said, we used to love to sit down and talk to our buyers and give them a face-to-face report, but that's not happening anymore. So what we're doing is keeping space, working with our partners like Rob, and making sure we're all staying safe. We wear gloves. We're also sanitizing before we get there. We wash our hands all the time. We're making sure we're not touching anything without gloves being on. So then we're doing our report, and we're emailing that report so that we don't have to get in front of customers. They can call us on phone. So we're trying to give space to everyone and make our inspection safe. And then on the pest control side, if we need to do that, what we're doing is we're power spraying the outside, doing the garage, not having to touch anybody. Payments can be done online. Payments can be done over the phone to our office, or a check can be left somewhere to where they don't have to get in contact with us. So space is really the issue, and making sure that all of our inspectors are healthy and have had no health problems. So we're trying to keep this as safe as possible.
Very good. I know that we have Sarah on the line, and Brian, I wanted to jump to you, but Sarah has a closing to go to, which is exactly why we're talking about the fact we're still doing business. So Sarah, prior to you having to jump off here, have you seen any delays or anything in business as usual, or we just need to make some changes with the new norms?
We just have to make some new changes. I don't think, delays are, the only delay we're going to see is if we do, not necessarily delay, but the change that's going to come is that if we are doing the video closings, the issues are going to surround funding, because it'll be like a mail away. So they'll be at their house signing and I'll be here, and I have to wait till the originals get to my office to fund. So we'd have to pretty much move the signing up a day. The closing date would be the following day, and that's when I would fund it. So right now it's a shift to get all these closings moved. So it's just patience with everybody that wants to do the video route, because we have to make those logistical changes. Right now, I have one tomorrow. They're going to actually sign at their house, and we don't have time for FedEx to overnight the docs because they want to move in over the weekend. So they're going to drive them here and drop them off to me in the parking lot. That way they don't have to do any signing or anything when they get here, but they can do it at their house, and then they don't have to wait on FedEx to deliver the documents on Monday. And I think that's the easiest route to take for the buyers to do and the sellers to do, to make this all happen on a time, time is of the essence kind of situation.
So we just need to continue to communicate. Our teams need to continue to communicate with each other. So when we're coordinating our contracts and the challenges with the moving process or possibly back-to-back closings, we need to make sure we're asking our attorney and our lenders to coordinate with us throughout that process.
Correct, because there may be some lenders that don't want to approve a video signing, and in that case we have other options. We have the traditional option of them coming in and us doing all the precautions we are now: gloves, sanitary wipes, hand sanitizer, their own disposable pens, as eliminating any of that we can. And we sit we sit far away at the closing table. I'm literally at one end, they're at the other end, things like that. But just have to know up front and start communicating with everybody so we know what the options are that are available.
Very good. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with us before I know you need to run?
Yeah, no, thanks for letting me be a part of it. And if anybody has any questions from the closing side, or, feel free to reach out to me, and everybody stay well and stay safe.
Well, thank you so much for being part of our team and for joining us today. And we look forward to doing it again soon.
Sounds good. See you guys later.
Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.
So I'm going to jump back in here to the same question. And Brian, I know that as a photographer and a person who has contact with all of our homes that we are putting on the market, what do you have in store for us?
Yeah, Heather, so our first policy and procedure change are these right here. Of course, taking them with us anywhere we go into the home. But in all seriousness, being the photographer, we do actually have to be in the house, but we're doing everything we can to cut that amount of time that we're spending in the house down and totally minimize any contact that's being made. So I've sent emails and communication out to all of our realtors asking that they could prep our home sellers to have the home completely ready before we ever come into the front door. I'm actually asking if the realtor cannot be there. Sometimes we will all meet at one spot and be there together. But in this instance, if the realtor cannot be there, our best case scenario is actually I'm walking up to the front door. It's unlocked for me, and the sellers have all the lights turned on, all the ceiling fans off, cars out of the driveway, and maybe they just jump in the car for 45 minutes and go for a ride, or if they time it where they can have to go get groceries, they can do that at that time. So we can basically be in the home for as minimal amount as possible. So we've also added the policy too, is basically we're not going to touch anything we don't have to in the home. So we will use these to open the front door. But if I can go in and just start taking pictures, normally I might move a few things in the home to, if I think it needs to look better, if something was in the room or out of the room, but we're really keeping that to a minimum. And ideally, we don't touch anything for our sake and for the seller's sake. And gosh, even for the good of our country right now is what we have to do. So we're finding that we can cut the amount of time we're spending in the home by like half the time. So 45 minutes on an average size home, and we can be in and out. I'll lock the door and shoot a text to the realtor and say, hey, I'm gone. And the home sellers can go back to their homes and just have some peace of mind that nothing was really touched. So those are the changes we're making.
Excellent. I know that you have a couple different tools, the 3D pictures and videos, as well as some of your walkthroughs. Do you happen to have any of those that you're going to be able to share with us today?
I do. We've introduced, we've actually had 3D tours that we've had before, but we're really starting to see people doing them a lot. So would this be a good time, Heather, to show one of those, or do you want to wait till a little?
I think while you're going ahead and you've answered a lot of the questions that are specific to you, and I think it might be great for them to see some of the products that you're going to be using and that we're going to be using in tandem to market our properties now. And so some of the things that we can do is so they can see how that works. And maybe you can give us an idea of, are these products or these technologies that we're using, are they going to cost our clients or our partners more, or are they going to be cost effective, and how does that work?
Yeah, definitely. I will show you the technology we're using real quick. I think the number one concern of a seller right now would be, I just don't want a lot of people in my house, obviously. And then on the flip side of that, people who are in the market for houses don't want to be in houses all the time walking through. So we've really wanted to come up with, hey, what's the best solution to for the potential buyers to do all the shopping they can while they're at home, and basically minimize how many different houses they're going to. And from the seller's point of view, to say the only people who are going to come into my home right now are qualified people who really have looked at the 3D tours, have looked at the photos, and say, yeah, I actually am interested. I'm not just popping in your house for the sake of it right now. I think that's what's most important to do. So let me just give you a peek. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Bear with me. Let's try this. And then Heather, you can please let me know if y'all can see that.
I can see it. Can everyone else see it?
Perfect. So this is an example of a Zillow 3D tour that we're introducing. This only takes like maybe 15 minutes extra to do in your home. So we're still not spending a lot of time in the home, but picture yourself right now as a potential buyer who's interested in a home. Before they might take a look at the pictures of this living room, but we all know like pictures can kind of be, they can kind of show something that's really not there, or vice versa. So if you are the potential buyer right now, you can really get a good feel of this home by actually just completely walking through. So as the seller, you can kind of have confidence, and as the realtor, that anybody who's looked at your house has actually kind of walked through it in a virtual sense and get a sense. Someone might say, oh, you know what, I don't really love this split staircase, and that's just something I know that I don't want in my home, so I'm not gonna do it. But some person may love that and go, hey, this is the home that I really want to look at. And then we have somebody coming into your house who's a qualified buyer. So you get the gist of how this works. This is posted onto Zillow. It also comes in a link that you can send out to your friends or send out to other realtors. And in addition, it's something that can be posted on MLS. So to answer your last question, Heather, and I'm going to stop my screen share. To answer your last question, is this going to be cost effective? Well, we know it's going to be time effective because we don't have to spend a lot of time in your home. Technology has like caught up to that. And cost sensitive for the seller, it won't be anything different. This is something that the realtor will more than likely pick up because it's not really a huge expense while we're already there doing the photos. We can, basically it's around $100 if you're in the realtor realm who are paying for something like this. And the amount of time that it saves you and the safety that it brings, I think it's worth every bit of that, and it's not breaking the bank. It's something that's just going to be good for everybody all around. So in addition, we're still doing video walkthroughs, we're still doing photos, but I'm really excited to introduce these 3D tours. I think they're going to, we'll see them be the norm from here on out, even when we get through all this, which is exciting. So that's everything on the 3D tour side.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And you brought up a good point on being prepared, and a lot of the systems that we use for our team do include a lot of virtual consults. And then of course we have documents and supporting things to asking our clients to prepare their homes for photography, and of course working with our other partners, one of them being Jeff. Jeff, would you like to talk to us a little bit about what you and I do as a team and how we prepare our clients before we take them out, or when we're selling, how we prepare them to get ready to buy another home?
Absolutely. So we spend a lot of time up front on the financing piece, because that's a big piece, obviously, to make sure that the deal is going to go through. So me and my team, I have a few assistants that help me as well. We have them fill out an application, which really on their end only takes about 15 minutes at the most. And then we go through the application, the credit report. We go through their assets, make sure that we know where the money's coming from. Obviously, there's 3 big things you need to get a loan, right? You have to meet the credit score requirements. You know, you have to have the money to put down depending on the loan program. And obviously you have to have the ability to repay the mortgage, which is your debt to income ratio. So those are the 3 biggest pieces of the puzzle that we have to figure out early on before they even start looking at homes. So we want to make sure we have the 3 legs of the tripod there. And so once we have them, and like if they're self-employed, for example, it may take a little longer to get that picture clearer in our minds, because we have to get their tax returns. We have to go through their tax returns, because a lot of times people think they make X amount of money, but by the time they write everything off or whatever they do, they may make a little bit less than they think. So we want to get those tax returns up front right away, make sure that they are in a good position, and then they don't get a surprise down the road, because I've had some people that went under contract and then they sent those tax returns later, and we found out, whoa, you may bring in $1 million in receipts for your business, but by the time everything dwindles down and you write everything off, you only make 100,000. So very important to get the documents we need up front from the borrower as soon as possible, so that when they go out and get ready to look at homes, they have a pre-approval letter, not a pre-qualification letter in hand from us. And that's a definite yes, not a maybe. So, so that's basically what we do up front to kind of get people ready to go.
Absolutely. And to just piggyback on that, we send our clients to Jeff and have them go through that process. And in using that, we bring it back and we use our systems and tools to set up specific criteria search that, follow that. So we're not out there looking for homes that don't fit the criteria and don't fit our clients. So we really do our very best up front with all of our services and our partners to make sure our clients are ready to go when they are. And especially in today's situation, what we would like our clients to do is to be able to have, narrowed that search down to possibly 2 to 3 homes. And then we've got these other services that allow them to look at homes much easier and quicker, and for us to continue to work through our processes as easily as possible. Andrew, would you like to touch a little bit about the importance of talking to a financial advisor right now, especially in these changing times, and some of the things, whether we're a business owner or we're maybe an employee of a company that has downsized a little bit? What kinds of things might our clients be looking at, and why would it be pertinent to talk with you?
Yeah, good question. And it's timely. I mean, we all know we're all going to be affected in various ways from this, and the way we work and the way we operate and the way we interact with people, but certainly financially as well in various forms and fashions. The reason it's important is because any good financial plan is always evolving and is always flexible. And I literally, right before this call, was talking to a client, and we put a plan in place 3 months ago. And obviously a lot has happened in the last 3 weeks, let alone 3 months. And there are vast adjustments to the plan already. And so knowing somebody, one of the hardest things about our industry and what we do when you set out a plan is it's very personable. And you sit with people and you get to know them, and you want to know what your goals and aspirations are, and certainly financial data, but that part is taken out of the lives a lot. So we're adapting to new ways to do business, obviously Zoom calls like this, phone calls, and knowing our clients and who they are. But the importance of it is that things do change for good and bad, and you always want to stay in touch with people. So we've made it a priority even a month and a half ago before a lot of this started, but you could see it on the horizon. We proactively reached out to our clients and said, hey, look, waters may get choppy. We have a plan in place. We can make strategic allocations in different areas if you want to, and adjust things. But certainly as the next month and a half and 2 months and 3 months go on, please keep us updated and let us know where things stand, and we'll adjust if we need to. And that's the value we provide. And certainly the home buying process is a big part of that. And whether you're buying or selling, these times are affecting people in various ways. So everything is constantly in fluid nature, and you got to be flexible with it. So.
Absolutely. And I understand that you, in addition to your Zoom calls and conferences with your clients, you also have a nice list of things that you gather from them prior to those consults, so that you can really help narrow down their specifications.
Yeah. So obviously the first part of, in normal times, the first part of any good step is just grabbing coffee or dinner with somebody, or just talking on the phone and getting to know them personally. But once you start going through the planning process, there is a document that we'll send out just so that we can put eyes on things and see hard evidence of what there is. So tax returns, investment statements, 401k statements, mortgage statements, any liabilities, loans, anything like that. Statements that show checking, savings accounts, balances, CDs, anything like that. And just so that we can get a complete picture and have a documentation of it too, because we have a suitability team that reviews what we do and make sure that what we're doing is in the best interest of our client. So it works both ways in that nature, but it does help us create a big picture. And so in terms of how it's been effective in this process, a lot of that's done digitally anyway. So clients can send that stuff to us, but on the back end, when there are things to take action on, we've operated with capabilities for a while now to be able to send things electronically to clients, like many people have talked about, to sign electronically, to transmit data securely. So we had those systems in place that did help, prepare us for a lot of this. So that part's good. Really, the biggest change is just the way that we interact with people and doing stuff like we're doing right now, where unfortunately we're not all together having a round table, but we kind of are in a certain way. So.
Absolutely. And that is a lead in to our very next question. We've kind of touched on it a little bit, each of us have, but the next question is, how has social distancing and stay in place orders affected the way that you're interacting and communicating with your clients? Maybe not necessarily when we're right in the middle of a transaction, but more so maybe some of the video systems or the systems for our clients that we're using. What are some of the things that each of you are using? And I think, Rob, you even shared something that you're doing. Would you like to talk to us a little bit about one of the systems you're using now?
Well, one of the things that we've been doing is we've been reaching out to some agents and business people and taking, whenever there's a crisis or situation, it's always an opportunity. I always turn around and say, okay, what am I going to do differently? How can I do differently? How is it going to come out? We do mind mapping, and that's one of the things that we do. And from the mind map, we do a SWOT analysis with the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. And when we did one a couple of weeks ago, I broke it down into a couple of different segments. How are we going to, what are the weaknesses and the threats and everything in our business, and how we do it, and what opportunities can we bring into the client or the agent for that matter. And, a lot of times people, I've been through 9/11 and I've been through 2007, 8, 9, that breakdown. There were a lot of different things that changed my business in 23 years. And if you can learn from it, or you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself, one of the things that, I was talking with a couple of agents even weeks ago, and we talked about video and doing different types of videos. Now, everyone's now doing, like Heather, probably you're doing a video showing where you can go around with your phone and show the house to clients. Matter of fact, they could meet them up front, sit in the yard, look at the driveway in the backyard, and then give the phone and hand it off to the buyers, or the sellers. They could walk through the house and show the people something just to get that interaction going. In our business, one of the things I've hooked up with, and I'm going to be hopefully implementing in the next 7 days, will be sanitation. We're going to be helping provide a program to sanitize the property after the closing when it's vacant. The easiest and most cost-effective way of doing it will be the house being empty and vacant, and the cleaning people, they're getting ready to go in, and we have a system that we have used for different, because we're also an environmental company with mold, and we do radon, and we help out with remediation. But there's not all sprays work, but we have a process where it would mist the home, and it would take about 45 minutes to do a house up to about 2,500 square feet on the average, and within minutes when they're done, you're able to walk through the house, and it's going to be sanitized for germs and anything that's on the surfaces. So we had talked about it years ago, actually about a year and a half ago, we talked about it with a different vendor, and the opportunities weren't there. No one really wanted to spend the money, or didn't really feel that there was an opportunity for this. Now all of a sudden, they're like, So I've been on phone calls with different companies saying, especially like with Sammy, we get on the phone and say, listen, how can you help us provide better and more services for our clients with one call, and they don't have to worry about it in our office, and our office staff will take care of it. So that was one of the things, and introducing like the MindMeister, and then putting things like we use Trello as a Trello board to help organize I've shown that to a bunch of different agents. I think that's a little easier way to organize it. And these are tools that you can use to share with people. And I also have mobile apps, and it kind of keeps you in contact. And you can But for Heather, it could be, she could have a whole process of closing. What the first, second, third, fourth, all be contacted at. And with that information, everybody will be on board. And that's what we're all looking for. Looking for everyone's job in the real estate industry is to get to the close and with the least amount of issues so the client is happy, because we've all, one time or another, closed on a property, and we understand the surprises, the stress, but we also know the joy that we have when we do that. So that's what we're always looking at. So just helping people step outside their comfort zone and look, what would it be like in 30, 60, 90 days, and what's it going to be like 2 years from now. So that was some of the things that we had discussed and we're going to hope to implement into our own company.
Absolutely. And one of those things, Melissa and I work on a lot, and we've done, a long time before this has happened, but it has allowed us the opportunity to continue our processes and of course get them better, is we have created our resource libraries. So all of the things that we do virtually already, we have just been able to add on a little bit and create our systems and change them up to where we can follow social distancing and how we need to, but also to provide the same service, if not a little bit better, to all of our clients or that are coming in or coming back to us. And Melissa has been wonderful at working with me for a couple of years on doing that. So anything that we do work with our clients through these processes, we have actual documents to send to support everything. In addition to, and Melissa's shaking her head, it's a very extensive library of resources. And then we also have the ability to use video for showing homes if we need to. And in addition to, we do a large amount of listings. And sometimes we've been getting the question of, well, how do we list our house? You can't come see it. I can walk through the house with you through video. And then we have supporting documents that help you with the list of things that we're going to ask you to do to prepare the home for our photographer and for everything else that we like to do. So we right now are putting in place for anyone who doesn't want to do the process immediately, we're going ahead and doing all of our background work because we're fully capable and ready to do that. So that is where we are on our processes. And of course, we're always looking to add and grow. And now we're going to be doing these video classrooms, if you will, or meetings, and having the opportunity for all of us to get together and share our changes and growth for the opportunities that are at hand. Sammy, did you have anything else to add from earlier?
Well, I think the best thing is that we're going to work a little closer with Rob on his inspections and make sure that we're there at the exact same time so that video and pictures can be used to enhance the examples if there's a rodent issue or if there is a termite issue or something that the client needs to be aware of. So we'll probably put a little more emphasis on the video and pictures so that they are attached to his report and make it easier and simpler, and we don't have to interact. It makes it safer.
So we just get our interaction this way for right now, and hopefully all join that. So as of now, I see that we have almost reached our hour. And I just wanted to, I don't see any other questions that have come through currently. Did anyone else have anything else they'd like to add to our conversation today?
I think one of the questions asked Heather and the team, how do you feel that the market, what do you think is going to happen in the next 60 to 90 days? Do you think that we'll have more buyers looking for properties or sellers being reluctant to put their homes on the market and inventory? What basically the National Association of Realtors saying?
Well, in the last month, interestingly enough, we saw very little change from year to date from this month last year. So far, we're not seeing much of a change in the actual activity in real estate. As you know, we have a good amount of people who choose to sell and buy, not just out of choice, but out of something they need. Oftentimes our services follow it could be a tragedy, it could be a death, divorce, growing family, the list goes on. And oftentimes it's not, hey, I just want to sell my house. So I think what's really important right now is for everyone to understand we have the capabilities to continue doing business as we have done, just adding our protocols in place. What we are seeing in listings is we still have a low inventory. So those who are taking the opportunity to list right now are still seeing a quick movement in their home because we do have more buyers out there. So they're having the opportunity to sell and have that buyer exposure without a competition. And then the buyers, of course, are still getting in on low interest rates. So best of both worlds. And to be quite honest, if you're working with a great team like we all are, how could you not win?
That's a great question. That's a good answer. We're hoping to see the exact same thing happen in our business. And we're seeing that too. We're actually seeing short due diligence periods. It's like, we got to get this done right away. The buyers want to close. And you think being in the business for so long, you've seen everything. You really don't. I mean, you're just constantly being handed a curveball, and you just got to catch it with a different glove. So we're hoping that we're seeing an influx in our inspections with new construction. Because you have to be certain certification to do that. And we've seen, just from the beginning of the year, we've seen a 23% increase in doing new construction inspections over last year already. And I think part of that has to do that it's vacant and it's ready and it's clean. I think the buyers are wanting to move into that right away without there being any hang-ups of what condition is the house in.
Absolutely. Well, do we have anything else to add, or are we good for today? And I do want to real quick just ask everyone, I know each of us has some additional tools or some resources that we might be able to send out. So, just to let everyone know who's watching this, if you are in need of any services, please feel free to contact us. We have the capabilities of walking you through this. And we know it can be a tumultuous time, but we are here for you. And it's not just for real estate. We're very resourceful and connected to our community. And there's a lot of things that we might be able to help you with, even if it's not real estate right now. So we just want to make sure that you know we're here for you. Are we good?
Especially with forbearance.
Forbearance. Would you like to talk about that real quick, Jeff?
Seems to be a pretty hot topic right now. And with, the jobless claims doubling in the last week, going from 3.28 million to 6.6, that's on a lot of people's minds right now. The government talked about, Freddie Mac talked about 60 days forbearance right now, and then looking to check into the future and see, what that means, if they can extend that out. But right now, the advice I'm giving to people, because a lot of people ask, well, what is forbearance? What does that mean? Well, basically, it's kind of like a delay in paying your payments. Kind of like, think of it like when you go get the 90-day same as cash at a furniture store. Yeah, they're not charging you the interest for those 90 days, but they're tacking it onto the loan. So it doesn't mean you're getting out of making your payments. One way or another, you're going to pay for them, whether it's at the end of your loan or they spread it out over your monthly payment to get the money back. But the forbearance is there to help you over the next 60 to 90 days or however long it takes to not have to make your payments. And they're not going to report it to the credit agencies either. So there's not a negative connotation that there would be with, going into a foreclosure or a loan modification. So I think that's going to help a lot of people out. But on the other side of the equation, it's going to hurt the servicers pretty bad, because they still have to pay the investor their money every month, whether the borrower pays it or not. So the people that really need it, obviously they need to use it, and those that don't need it shouldn't be not making their payments at this time. Right now they said that they can take it just off of attestation that you need it, which I think is a little bit too loose, in my opinion. You don't really have to prove it. So Forbearance is a big word right now. It's a lot on a lot of people's minds, but my recommendation has always been to call your loan servicer first, and they can tell you what they can do for you.
Excellent. And you just brought up another question that came up to me a couple days ago. I'm glad we've got you on the call, so I'm going to get the answer from you. We have people that are on a short-term furlough, possibly from their positions. And how are mortgages being looked at for someone who might have a 30 or 60-day window furlough, and therefore they have a gap in their income? How might that be affected in the future?
So the GSEs, the government sponsored entities like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, if we can't get a verbal verification of employment, we can take a pay stub that's dated within 30 days of the note date. So most current pay stub, we can use that, or we can take their bank statements to show that they've been still receiving the income. But if they get furloughed and we can do a verification of employment and it says that they're not currently working, then that might cause some issues with trying to get closed on time. It may delay some people from getting mortgage financing at this time. But if it's just a case of you can't get a hold of the employer because, you know, a lot of people are, a lot of HR departments are working remotely and stuff like that, and so they can't use the normal methods to get a hold of folks to get that verification. They are relaxing some of those guidelines, but if you do lose your job or you're furloughed, that can cause issues because of the ability to repay the mortgage. If we don't have a job or don't have income, then we wouldn't be able to move forward with the closing at that time. So
if it is a short-term furlough, let's say that we do come back around by June and everyone is getting back to their employment, how would the underwriters be looking at that possibly in 6 months or 12 months from now for the last year? Is there a letter of explanation or something that possibly would be a instrument used?
So what they would do is they would look at a letter of explanation from the borrower, and also that we could do a written verification of employment and send that form. Fannie Mae has a form that we send over to the employer to fill out, and that's where they could explain that they were furloughed for however long. And like I said, they're relaxing a lot of the guidelines right now with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on the conventional side. So that would be something they would look at on a case-by-case basis. If somebody was only off work for 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 months, I think that would be fine. Obviously, it's not at the fault of the borrower, and we're in a crisis right now. Everybody understands that. So like I said, they have relaxed some of the lending standards right now as far as how we're able to get a verification of employment. And even on the appraisal side, they're going to be allowing people to do drive-by appraisals and desktop appraisals. So a lot of good stuff coming out of, to help during this crisis. And, so hopefully that'll help those that are in need.
Wonderful. Well, again, we have wrapped up our hour. I would just want to thank all of you for joining us today and for helping us answer these questions that so many have been asking. And we'll continue to do this on a weekly basis. And we look forward to everyone joining us then. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.